all the functions. So we're going to start from example 4. So from the table, we're going to find the rate of change on the x, which is changing by 10 every time. We're going to do the same thing on the y, try to figure out if it's exponential or if it's linear or quadratic. So checking my division, if I just divide the second number by the first number and then try to multiply everything by that, I can see that 3.9 might be fine, but that's definitely not 24.1. So it's not exponential. So I'm going to check if it's linear. This is a listening check. Circle example 4. Try the first number from the second number, and I get negative 0.4, and then keep doing it every single one, and that works. So this is linear because you're going to subtract 0.4 every time. So what's my equation for linear? Y equals mx plus b. What's m? Change in y over change in x, which in our case, the change in y is negative 0.4. The change in x is 10. Then press math, enter to get it as a decimal, which is going, as a fraction, which is going to be negative 1 over 25. And then we just need to find out where it crosses the y-axis, where that's your b, and that's when x is equal to 0. So we don't see a x equals 0, so we need to go back up. So it goes, going backwards, it goes 10 and then 0. So I need to go back up twice. So instead of subtracting 0.4, because I'm going backwards, I'm going to add 0.4. So 4.7 plus 0.4, then plus 0.4 again. It's going to give me 5.5. All right, so that's my y-intercept. Put in your equation, and then we're just going to double check my table. Now, you can see it starts at 10 and 20, so you faster way than to just scroll down would be to hit second and then table set, then make it start at 10. And 10 is, oh, well, actually, I'm going to make it start at 50, which is 3.5. That's right. I'm check one more. Start at 60, and that's 2.1. So my equation is correct. So I'm checking to see if my equation is right. So this is right. This is a listening check. Color in the box with the 80. Now I need to find out what my x-intercept and my y-intercepts are. So I'm going to hit graph. And I can see that that doesn't quite give me the whole picture. So I'm going to mess around with the window a little bit. And you can see I can make it to where I can see my y-intercept and my x-intercept. Then I'm going to calculate the 0. So second, calculate 0. Go left side, press enter. Go right side, press enter. This is to find my x-intercept. So that's going to be 137.5. Okay. My domain, when you have a table, it's just all the numbers in the table in order, don't repeat them. So is my range. Close brackets because it includes those numbers. So you don't use your graph on that one. They give you a table, it's exactly what's in the table. All right, let's take a look at another example. You hit a basketball straight up in the air. There's the equation, so it's obviously quadratic because you can see the squared. So write down the equation, they give it to you. And quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c. C is your y-intercept, so there isn't a y-intercept, so that's going to be 0. And then my x-intercept is where y equals 0, so we're going to plug in the equation just like we usually do. It's a listening check, color in the word equation. All right, then I'm going to hit graph, change my window to standard negative 10, 10, 1, negative 10, 10, 1. All right, that still looks weird, so I'm going to zoom fit, so second, not second, just zoom and zoom fit. And then I'm going to make my x value smaller and my y positive bigger. So squeezing in the x and making my y bigger. So let's try, if that's my min, I'm just going to make it less. So 50 and perfect. So I can clearly see my x-intercepts and I can see my maximum. I'm going to calculate my x-intercepts. So second, calculate zeros. Left side, enter. Right side, enter. Guess, enter. So my first one is x equals 0. And that's y was also equal to 0. And then my second one, so calculate the 0. Go left side of my second in where it crosses the x-axis. Left side, enter. Right side, enter. Guess, yes. So x is 3.75. All right, so this is what the sketch looks like. Domain is all my x values, right? So pick a point on the left, pick a point on the right, pass the graph. Is there a graph? Yes, all real numbers. Do the same thing for range on the bottom. Is there a graph? On the top, is there a graph up there? No, it stops at the maximum, which means I need to find the maximum. So second, calculate, go down to maximum, press enter, left side, enter, right side, enter, and then guess, enter. So that's my maximum. So that's my highest point is 56.25. So my range is going to go all the way down to negative infinity, open parentheses, to 56.25, close bracket. I don't know why I put open. Oh, because I'm going to erase it. Close bracket. Or you can write it at y is equals to less than. Now, final question, you buy a used car for $4,000. The value depreciates at 12%. All right, so year 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Always make your table. You start off at 4,000 and then it just depreciates at 12%. Well, I already know this is exponential, right? So I'm going to write down my equation for exponential, which is y equals ab raised to the x power. This is a listening check. Color in the table on the left. Remember, b is your growth will be 1 plus percent as a decimal. Your decay will be 1 minus your percent as a decimal. In other words, divide your percent by 100. Even if it is a decimal, you already divided. And then a is your start point. So let's find out what my growth is. So y equals my beginning, which is 4,000. Then because it's decay, I have to do 1 minus. And what's the percent? It's 12 divided by 100 raised to the power of x. Put that in the calculator. What's in the parentheses? 1 minus. And anytime you have a fraction, always put in parentheses. So 12 divided by 100. So in my parentheses, 0.88 raised to the power of x. Now put that into y equals. So I can see when x is 0, it's 4,000, and I'm just going to write in the few values up to 3. All right, so my x-intercept is when y is 0, my y-intercept is when x is 0, and I can see x is 0, y is 4,000. So when x is 0, y is 4,000. I need to find out what y is 0. So scrolling down, I can see it's going to take too long, so I'm just going to do second table set and then kind of mess with the numbers. I'm trying to get as close to 0 as I can, which this is pretty close. I'm just scrolling down. This is a listening check, color in growth and decay. It's getting closer. It doesn't look like it's actually going to touch it. So if I graph it, I should expect an isotope to happen towards the x-axis. And if I zoom fit, you'll see that that's what it's doing. It's zooming towards. So my domain is always going to be for exponential functions or real numbers. My range, so again, you go to the bottom and you go to the top and you draw a line. You see it doesn't start until 0, right? But it doesn't include 0, so open parentheses. Everything bigger than 0. And that's pretty much it. So let's practice.